It's back.
The green train is running.
Bobby, sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome to another edition of Fins Talk today. I'm Bobby Fins Talk. Fish Tank Hank seems I know he was coming back from the game. Hopefully everything's good. I'll reach out to him. Hopefully he gets on before we close it out and get his take on the Dolphins versus the Falcons, the first game of the preseason. Let me just welcome everybody for tuning in. Of course, I have it as Fins Talk with Bobby since Mr. Hankster ain't here. I've been having all these kind of technical difficulties today, so forgive me if I can't get to all the comments. But Aladino in the house, Ender, Rob of DolphinsThirsty.com. If you're thirsty for Dolphins content, go check out Rob. Evan Posner of the Overreaction wagon, or excuse me, the bandwagon, Finn's bandwagon. You catch him on Thursday nights. You got Back It Up Binge podcast. Everybody tuning in. Thank you so much. Like and subscribe. As always, Fins up. Adam, good to see you. And if Fish Tank doesn't show up, hey, Rob, Evan, and whoever wants to hop on, you can pop on. I'll drop the link. Come on, we'll talk Dolphins football. We'll talk about our reactions from last night. Of course, the Miami Dolphins played game 1 of the preseason against the Falcons. A lot of hype going into this season, a lot of excitement for Dolphin fans. We've been waiting all this time. And the Dolphins drop it 19-3. Total dud. If you think about team game, it was a dud. However, on individuality, on individual performance, I wouldn't put it in the dud column. I was very impressed by some individual performances, and that's what preseason is about. These are guys trying to earn a job on this roster, and it's only game 1. You don't have the starters. There was no Tyreek. There was no Jalen Waddle, who was injured, of course. Tua, Riley, any of those starting guys, the core guys, were not in that game. Yeah, it did bother me by the effort put by this team. And of course, it's just preseason, but the effort of game 1 did bother me. But I'm not going to overreact to a loss in week 1 of preseason, of a game that doesn't matter, of a game where it's basically a dress rehearsal for some of these guys. Game 2, we'll see how they do. I expect some of the starters to play. If they come out laying that dud, maybe I'll be a little concerned. If they play like this in week 1 against the Chargers, with everybody that we expect them to be in that starting lineup, then you should be very concerned. But Eazy-E, Uzukama, I was very impressed with how he performed last night. I tweeted, I said, Debo Jr., 2 rushes, 52 yards. But these were big chunks of gains by I almost called him Debo, by Uzukama. Okay. Gaskin, 7 rushes, 57 yards. Loved what I saw from him. Loved the effort. He's playing with a chip on his shoulder. He's playing for his job. He really showed out. I don't know if it's to give him a roster spot, but I think it definitely helps with his trade value, and I like that. A-Chain, look, if you look at just his rushing of 10 rushes, 25 yards, but he was a multi-factor. I believe he was the first returner, kickoff returner. Very impressive return. Was very excited. I loved what I saw from him at that point, the speed. But rushing the ball looked okay. But here's what a lot of people are talking about the third wide receiver, Chosen Anderson, Cedric Wilson. And I brought it up last show. I was like, hey, what we're thinking we're going to see out of Cedric Wilson and Robbie Anderson or Braxton Barrios as a third receiver, I think that's going to A-Chain. And lo and freaking behold, the dude had 4 receptions for 41 yards. That's about a 10 yards per catch average. I was very impressed with our rookie running back. And yes, Moya, I agree with you. Chris Brooks, talked about him last week as a player to watch. He's been having a good camp. And my goodness, last night I was happy with him actually having here. 5 rushes, 24 yards. Okay. I was very happy with what I saw from him. And it makes it obvious. Okay, we didn't get to see Jeff Wilson. We didn't get to see Raheem Mostert. But getting to watch those guys and seeing what they did, again, we understand. The same thing. That's why, again, I'm not worried about it with the performance overall of the Dolphins, because it was a bunch of second, third stringers. All right. It goes the same for the Falcons. Okay, we weren't going against their best. But I was very happy to see what I saw from our running back room. And I kind of understand more now. I already did, but I understand more why the Dolphins aren't going to break the bank for a Dalvin Cook. When you see what you got in a player like H.A. in his first professional game in preseason, and then your undrafted running back in Chris Brooks, and then Myles Gaskin, and you haven't even seen Wilson or Mostert, why would you overpay for a Dalvin Cook? And we know how good he is. We know that. But if you don't need it, don't break the bank on it. Now, there are some concerns, though, valid concerns. I don't think there was too much overreaction. I did see a lot of overreaction. That's why the title of the episode is A Time to Be Concerned. My answer to that is no, it's not time to be concerned. But there is some concerns. Offensive line, even though it's backups, Eichenberg showed what he usually showed. He was a no-show. Gave up a lot of plays. The quarterbacks, Mike White, I don't think it's really to hang your hat on, did better, than Skyler. Skyler showed some regression. I did like some of the rollouts. Again, it's only week 1 of preseason. Okay. But I did like some of the rollouts, some of the different plays he did. He showed that little spark, but he did have a lot of mistakes. Let me pull this up here very quick. Again, if I'll drop the link here, and anybody's welcome. Hopefully Fish Tank is good. Fish Tank Hank, he was at the game last night. Hopefully he's just so dang disgusted with the loss. I don't know. I doubt it, knowing Fish Tank. But maybe he's just like, I don't want to talk about him. I don't know. But God bless. Hopefully he's doing all right. Got home okay, or is he on his way home? And Fish Tank, if you tune in and you're watching, you just hop on when you're ready. If not, we'll do a follow-up show. I don't mind doing Talking Dolphins. I love Talking Dolphins. Back It Up Binge podcast. Good rushing stats. 26 times for 168 yards, 6.4 average per carry. That's what I loved it. I was very impressed with our running game. Okay. And I saw people, and again, I don't judge people. It is what it is. But I did see people saying after they lost, we definitely need to sign Dalvin Cook now. How do you come away with that in that game, come away from that game saying we need to sign Dalvin Cook? And I'm a proponent of signing Dalvin Cook. But how do you come out of that game saying you got to sign Dalvin Cook? You should be coming out of that game going, hey, man, the Dolphins have been pretty smart about not overpaying for a Dalvin Cook. Even though, we know what he is compared to these guys, but these guys showed out last night. And if they continue to play with that type of play, that effort, Dolphins are okay in the running game. They just have to commit. Again, 60-40, 50-50. You come out with that 50% pass, 50% running, 60% pass, 40% running, you're going to have a very successful offense, despite what we saw last night. But offensive line was something to be concerned about. Of course, there was no Terron Armstead. I don't think Connor played. And I could be wrong, but I know Armstead didn't play. I did like what I saw a little bit out of Ryan Hayes, undrafted free agent, or excuse me, not an undrafted, 7th round pick, offensive tackle. I did like what I saw from him. Eichenberg, it's just how could you just continue to defend what you're seeing out of Eichenberg? Let me run that by some numbers here, and then I'll drop the link. And if you guys want to join me and talk some Dolphins, get your thoughts out there, you're more than welcome to. Evan and Rob, you know how to get in. You come in whenever, if you could, that's welcome. If not, I don't mind doing this. I don't mind talking Dolphins. I could go all day. But Skylar Thompson played the second half. Mike White played the first half. I'd like to know your opinion. Which guy stood out to you? This is your backup quarterback. Did you come away from this game comfortable with your backup quarterback, knowing that Tua goes, played 13 games in last season and the season before Are you comfortable that if and when Tua goes down, that one of these guys are going to come in? Or are you saying after this game going, hey, dude, we need to go get ourselves a legitimate backup. We need to do something. We can't go into the season with these guys are our backups. Mike White, who started the game, he actually had a very good first drive until that interception in the end where it wasn't really on him. It was just a very good defensive play. But 9 of 14, 85 yards, 0 touchdowns, and an interception. Wasn't bad for him in the first half, but I didn't come away impressed. I didn't come away going, okay, now I know why people want this guy to be our backup. Skylar Thompson. Again, I saw some of the flashes that I liked it in preseason the year before, but I was not impressed with overall play. Again, to me, it was kind of a regression. And again, I got to say to myself, to kind of make me feel better. And I guess I say that all to you to help you feel better. It's only week 1 of the preseason, but I saw some regression there. I was not happy with that. But he was 10 of 16, 104 yards, 2 interceptions, 3 interceptions total for the backups, as Back It Up Binge podcast is bringing up. They are backups. These games mean nothing other than evaluation. Saw the Lions go 4th and 1 on their own 32 just to see what they could do. That sums up the preseason. Absolutely. I think that's absolutely fair. That's why this game, I evaluate individual players more than I evaluate the team. Game 2, that's because it's only 3 games, the starter likely is going to play that. Week 2, then I guess you could go ahead and be a little concerned. But week 1, no. Now, before I continue, my handsome co-host, the one and only Fish Tank Hank, is finally here. Let me get him in here. Rob's in the house. I love it. All right, so let me go ahead and get Fish Tank here. Finally in here. Awesome.
Yo.
Hey. First off, Fish Tank, how are you?
I'm doing good. Me and the wife and I are on our way back from the game and all that. So we got a little caught in traffic, but I finally made it to a service area.
That's okay. I figured I said, hey, Fish Tank is probably still on the road. That's okay. Let's get this ball rolling. Whenever he can, he'll hop on. And of course, you got Rob Mosley in the house of DolphinsThirsty.com. Just popped in. I appreciate you, sir. How are you?
Can't complain. Speaking of the road, last week I was on a long road trip and we were out and about, so I understand. So it was nice. We were on the road for hours. I finally got to see what the hoopla about Buc-ee's is. I'm like, what's a Buc-ee's? It's no different than a Wawa. I walked into a Buc-ee's. I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is a freaking gas station. I don't know if you guys have ever been in a Buc-ee's. It's insane.
I've not been to Buc-ee's, no.
It is crazy big. I couldn't believe the size of a Buc-ee's, but I had never even heard of it. My college kid had heard of it, but I had never heard of it. But it's crazy. But anyway, the Dolphins game, I'm with you, Bobby. Yeah, there's good and they're bad, of course. I don't look at the team performance during preseason like you. I try to find the positives, and A-Chain, EZ, Gaskin, all those guys were positive. I think Cam Smith, I don't know if you guys heard the latest. I haven't heard him this morning, but he walked into the locker room at some point, but he played well up until that point. Yeah, he got beat on one play, but he made for a rookie. He made some nice plays on the ball, came up in the running game, made a nice tackle on the play. I don't know if he got hurt on the tackle or did he get hurt on the guy, give him you see a Dolphin give him a high five. That's when he grabbed the hand. That's
like the Christian Wilkins thing a few years back when he injured that guy. I forgot who he injured.
That's when, or it just happened to be he realized he was hurting at that point. But anyway, I thought he was a good point.
Yeah, I agree. And I understand. We're all part of the network group chat, and there was there was a lot of after this game, and I'm used to that with them. I love Evan like a brother. But I call him the captain of the overreaction wagon, more of the bandwagon sometimes. I mean,
that's what I said. That was crazy.
I'm going to change the show title for Thursday night to the overreaction wagon. But Fish Tank,
wait a minute.
You were there live. I know. That's not you. I know.
Fish Tank is still on the bandwagon, so I don't know.
I said it before. I said it during the show. I said it at the top of the show.
Don't you pick on my son like that.
But hey, Hank, you were there live. Yes, sir. First off, how was being at the stadium first game of the preseason, but for the Dolphins first, how was that experience before we go into what your thoughts on the game?
Hot and hot.
Oh, goodness gracious.
I even had my neck air conditioner on. I stayed for half the game because we were staying in the stadium hotel, and which was right around the corner. So I stayed and endured half of it, and I did watch the whole game though, and I had some takeaways from it this time. I didn't like the 8 penalties for 72 yards. I didn't like the 4 turnovers. Those were big. Those were big, especially getting ready in the red zone, and then you give it up, and then you give up you give up one for a touchdown, and things just start to unravel. And it seemed like that was the way it was kind of going for the backups. So here's the positive spin: is they were backups, so it really doesn't matter. I'm not going to go by a preseason game for everything, but that was my takeaway. I mean, there were some good moments, but Gaskin was doing well. He was doing well, and A-Chain, he did okay. I mean, when he kept going up the middle, he wasn't getting anything. He wasn't getting anything when he'd go up the middle. So,
well, let me just bring up A-Chain for a second, and because as a running back, what I saw some flashes. I like what I saw. Again, as a returner, he was one who returned the first kick, if I'm correct, and he looked really good. It was like 40 yards, but 25 yards rushing the ball, 41 yards receiving out of 4 receptions. I came away very happy from that with his performance. Chris Brooks, again, I talked about him earlier. Chris Brooks, the undrafted running back. I mean, I know he made some noise in training camp. I was very happy to see what I saw from him. Now, look, again, we take it. Same reason why I say could be concerned with the struggles. You take it with a grain of salt. But I believe this game was more about individuality, more about individual performance. More it was about the team effort. I wasn't impressed with team effort, but it's game 1 of preseason, against a bunch of backups. But Eazy-E, I call him Debo Jr. right now after this game. You saw what he did. I don't think he had any receptions. Let me make sure. I don't want to say that. He had 3 receptions. 3 receptions, 15 yards. I apologize.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Hank. The way they incorporated him. I like the way they brought him in, like you said, like a Debo, and I was enjoying that. Go ahead, Rob.
No, that's what I was going to say, and I liked it, but now that's it. We don't need to see any more of that in the preseason. Say it for the game so teams don't give them a little something to think about, but now make it look like it's not going to be a big part of your offense. And then game 1, you can start. Oh my God, but it's just
play it like the Wildcat.
To make the team, right?
Yeah,
he's still trying to make the team. So
yeah, no, I know, but those play calls, they see it works now and giving him the ball. He's a tough guy.
Well, you got to remember. These guys like a Gaskin. I know a lot of people. I mean, I was very happy with Gaskin. I loved his effort. And maybe he is fighting for a roster spot. But you know what he did last night? Maybe he helped that cause. But what he did more, he helped his trade value. Teams that need a running back who may not want to pay $7 million for a Dalvin Cook, like Miami, may say, "Hey, we probably get a young back like that. Let's trade him a 6th-round pick, for a Gaskin instead of having to cut him. You trade him for now. You have an extra pick." I loved what I saw from Gaskin.
No, he did. He shows why he makes a team every year. We always write him off but every time he's performed, he's okay. He's never going to break off a 70-yard sprint away from everyone touchdown run, but you can see he has enough burst to get through the line. He's always going to get caught, from the back, but he's solid, and you see why he makes the team. Because every year we write, he's just a 7th round. He's gone in, he makes the team, and he actually does well when he gives a chance.
Let me say this because I totally agree. I think Garrett Nelson played really well. Special teams.
He had a sack last night.
Elijah Higgins with Skylar Thompson had a couple good plays. It was a bad penalty call. I came away happy with his performance as well.
And he had a couple penalties. One was a BS penalty that should have never been a holding. It was like a BS holding, but one was
that was a horrible call.
Yeah, that was
horrible, Rob. I agree.
Another guy to stand out. I got 2 of them on defense. Of course, Channing Tindall showed out last night. He had a good game. 6 tackles, 3 assists, 1 sack. And then undrafted free agent Aubrey Miller was all over the field last night. I mean, it was hard not to see not for him not to be on your screen. You noticed him. I mean, he had like a kind of I don't want to say team captain feel to him, but I mean, he was a presence. He came on the sideline. He was, making barking. You see his hand up. I was like, I love what I saw from that kid. So again, preseason individual performance. Fishing, let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
The reason why for the title today, time for concern or whatever I had it, was not more of me. I saw a lot of people on Twitter, especially within our groups, who were the world's on fire. After last night's game, are you anytime, because you have it 16-1 or 15-2, the Dolphins this season?
15-2.
After last night, sir, no Tua, no Tyreek, no Jalen, no Bradley,
nobody.
Nobody. All backups and rookies. After last night, is the 15-2 now 2-15? Is it time to turn in your ticket and say the Dolphins are done?
No.
All right. That's all I have to say.
Well, Hank, he did lower your record a little bit after Jalen Ram. I think he still comes in. I think he says like 14 wins down or something. Or I forget, because Jalen Ramsey got
not just
hurt.
No, Bobby, but hello, Mary, no. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Come on, man. It's preseason.
I'm saying. And look.
Yes, Evan. It's preseason, Evan. Preseason, Evan.
Evan's on his way to New York City. I didn't know he was going there. Oh, maybe I did. I could have. I don't remember anything anymore. But
hey, we want the best for our backups, but guess what? We have to deal with reality too. And the reality part of it is that was the backups, folks. So don't cash in those chips.
I mean, actually,
yet.
Mike White, that opening drive, he was perfect, and then
Mike White, the first drive did very well. It was that
he had a hit brain fart, and he panicked. He should have just chucked that ball into the stands. He
should have.
He tried to fit it in there. He was outside.
That was just a very good defensive play by the Falcons. It was more on the Falcons' defense than it was on Mike White. Just in his defense. First half though, I didn't come away going, "Oh, I'm that's it, Mike White," or I was like, "Oh, I love this signing." I was like, "I want to see Skylar now," and then Skylar was just, he had the same type of thing. He had a little
Skylar Thompson got killed a couple times.
Dude, that's the thing. That's why, again, it's just one game.
Yeah,
but offensive line, crap, man. That's your depth. I understand that concern, because when Taron, the same thing. If and when, knock on wood, it doesn't happen, but if and when Taron Armstead goes down, who's your left tackle? That's a concern. I get that concern. Our offensive line struggled last night. Guys get knocked on their ass. Eichenberg again showed why people want him out, and I hate that for him.
Why people want him out.
I hate that for him. They all want Isaiah Wynn, 6'2". Isaiah Wynn to be the, it is, but that's where I could say, yeah, we got a little bit of concern in depth on offensive line, but we knew that. Yeah. And it sucks because
they did nothing about it in the offseason. So
we got Dan Feeney,
Isaiah Wynn. I mean, and Cedric
they
Cole.
didn't do enough.
Right.
Did you guys get the chance to see? Maybe not Fish Jake, because you saw the game live in person, where me and Rob were watching it on the television, and did you get to see Ryan Hayes at all? Did you get to notice him? I liked a little bit of what I saw from Ryan Hayes. He's our 7th round offensive tackle, I believe, out of Michigan. But I did like to see the brief stuff I saw from him. I liked what I saw. What did you think, Rob?
No, I agree. He did well. Of course, he's going against their backup, so we don't know. But like you said, we have to play at both sides when our guys do well later in the game. If they also realize the Falcons are playing their guys that probably won't be on the team at the end of the year, But he did well for a 7th round pick, and I think highly of the kid. I mean, you're not a starting left tackle all those years at a big university like Michigan with a hard butt coach like Jim Harbaugh. And, you're playing for Michigan left tackle. You're a decent football player. He just doesn't have all the, measurements maybe that stand out in combines that send coaches crazy. Oh, look at his reach. Oh, look at his cone drill. But he gets the job done. So I think he has a really, really good chance of being on the active roster this year as one of the guys.
Maybe they put him to left. Maybe they put him to left guard.
Yeah, or
Hey, let me just welcome. First off, let me just forgive me, guys. Because since we're at the halfway point, we got Hank and Rob in here. I started the show, but I think I did all right. I think I did it solo. I'm not used to being solo, but that's okay. Rob is sometimes. I think I got some pointers from him. watching him.
No,
but
you were doing great, man. You were doing great.
Thank you, sir. Again, guys, you're watching.
Yeah, you did great.
Oh, well, thank you. Appreciate it. I got like a Hank style shirt on right now. Anyway, you're watching Fins Talk today on the Fins Talk Sports Network. For everybody who's new to the show, there you go. Love it. I am Touche. First off, man, thank you for watching. We appreciate you, brother. If you're new to the channel, man, hit that like and subscribe button. Eric in the house, Eric Rivera, Evan, Izukama. He's always trying to correct somebody. But if you're new, smash that like and subscribe button. Cat for life in the house as always. Everybody tune in. Thank you.
Fins up, everybody. I can't see you, but
that's all right. Yeah, Fishing usually sees the comments. But I am Touche. Last year when we blew Philly out, we didn't say it was just preseason. We were excited. I don't know what the other one was, but forgive me. But we were excited. Sure, it would probably, if the Dolphins did really well, you'd be excited again, last night. But again, it was the backups against the backups. You would have been excited because Ralphie boy in the house. Hey, Ralphie boy. You would have been excited because, hey, our backups did really well. Our quarterbacks did good, just like we were good with our running backs last night. But last year during preseason, yeah, you get excited because they did well against Philadelphia. But again, you still say it was preseason. You know what I mean? You see how it did in the regular season, because look what Philadelphia did last year. Oh, hype. It's all right, man. I got you. And we're hyped this year. That's my point about this show today. It's like, look, I understand. I can understand the concerns after last night, but there's no reason why to kill the hype. It's not the end of the world.
Here's a side note for you, Bobby. I actually ran into Big E.
Awesome. How was that?
Somehow he wound up in my section over in 241, and it was like a temporary thing for the first half or something, and then he was going back up to where he usually goes, and I got to meet him and his wife, and we took a quick shot. He posted it on Twitter. It was nice of him.
I saw that. I did see that. Pretty cool. Yeah. I didn't know if it was from last night or the night or a previous thing, because I know you've been to the training camp. So, but I saw that. That was pretty cool.
That was last night in the stadium.
Gotcha. That's really cool.
And speaking of Big E, Bobby and I are going to be on Big E's team in the Dolphins Cancer Challenge. Make sure you hook up Bobby and I if you want to donate to the great cause. You can get one of our links. There you go. It's going to be awesome. Bobby and I are going to be on the Big E team. I'm finally going to get to meet Bobby in person come February of 2024. So hopefully it's after a great playoff run by the Dolphins and we're all wearing championship shirts or something like that.
Wear that ring. I'm gonna wear that. I'll wear it'll be a fake ring, but I'll order it on eBay or somebody will make a fake Dolphins championship. And I'll be wearing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
so
Bobby,
that's gonna be fun.
You'll have to buy everybody in the network a fake ring.
A fake
Hey, you're the owner of the team, so you're gonna have to get us all fake rings.
Yeah,
I may be
the face. I may like 10 rings for $9.99. So
yeah, I'll have to find something like that, because I may be the owner, the face of the owner thing, we're gonna call it, but the real owner is behind that wall, and I have to go through her.
Yeah, she's a budgeteer.
Trust me, any decision I make, I gotta go through the boss. El Jefa. If I'm El Jefe, she's El Jefa.
We just want our little plastic rings that won't even
little
fit
plastic
on our
ring that says champions. Yes.
Yeah.
But Touche, thank you, man. I appreciate it. You enjoy the show, brother. You're always welcome on too. If you ever want to talk Dolphins, hop on. And look, another great show because he's here, but I say it even when he's off. I mean, even when he doesn't. Last week he was on vacation. Like, how dare he? He didn't come onto any of the shows, wasn't commenting. That's Rob. But even last week when he wasn't on, I promoted the show because it is a damn good show. Rob Mosley, check out Dolphins Thursday during the week, usually 10 o'clock Eastern. Check out that show. That's another good Dolphin show weekly. Hank and I come on Saturdays.
Thank you.
We're right there during the week. Earlier in the day, Rob has a great show on his channel. We got great content through the night. He has it during the day. Monday maybe we'll do daily shows, but when we have access to do it. But anyway, continuing our conversation about last night. Fishtank, I'll start with you on this one, brother. And anybody in the comments, you guys go right ahead. Top 3 players that stood out to you last night, my man.
Oh, that's got to be Miller, Aubrey Miller.
Yes, sir.
Gaskin. and I also liked Eazy-E. I liked Eazy-E. I like the way they used him. That stood out to me, the way they used him. So I really liked
Yes.
that
Yeah, I
more
like.
so than the player himself.
Yeah, I like A Chain. Well,
Good
like I've been
point.
saying, off the chain for A Chain because
Yes.
yes, maybe he didn't put up the biggest rushing stat, but he showed his ability to be able to catch the ball out of the backfield, his ability to be able to run, and I even thought he was decent through the tackles. Yeah, he didn't break a big one, but he's not that small back that he falls forward when he goes in there. He was knocking people forward, back when he hit them. So I thought that was good. I really liked what I saw at A Chain. Gaskin again, I liked. And I like Cam Smith. I'm hoping his shoulder injury is not that anything serious. I liked him. So yeah, there are some positive spins that you can take. And Aubrey Miller, obviously, he was like you guys have mentioned, he was all over the field. And
Yeah, he was everywhere.
yeah, so I think there is hope.
I will say this. Obviously, I agree with all you. I agree with both of you guys. And again, guys, the question was, everybody in the comments, please put your answers below if you could, or if you want. Who are your top 3 players last night that you were like, even though the Dolphins lost, that you were like, man, I'm excited about these guys. Let me just talk about A-Chain because I said Eazy-E. These were my standouts, and I brought them up throughout the show, but it's obvious. So Eazy-E, Gaskin, A-Chain, Aubrey Miller, Chris Brooks, and yeah, Cam Smith is fit in there. So again, Ryan Hayes, liked a little bit of what I saw from him, but and I'm Channing Tindall, but A-Chain, you look at his running back numbers and you go 10-25 and you go, okay, and sell me on him as a running back. But you know what his performance overall sold me on him as for? A football player. He's a damn good football player. You could hold out the jury on a running back, but rushing, receiving, returning the football.
Yeah, no, the opening kickoff was great. So we haven't seen a burst like
Yeah.
that for a while.
That's what I'm going to say. Judge him off that.
Yeah.
Look, we got 2 starting running backs, or, we got Mozart, we got Wilson. We'll see where he fits in there. But remember, Hank, I think I brought it up. It was with you and me last week. We talk a lot about Braxton Barrios, Chosen Anderson, Cedric Wilson, who had the first catch. We talk a lot about them as our third receiver. And remember what I brought up last week? I think people are overlooking A-Chain as your third receiver. And last night, I think he showed it. He's a football player. He ain't just a running back. That dude's a football player. He showed that. And the same thing with Eazy-E. He's showing he's not just a receiver. He may be an overall football player. He could do a lot. And I agree with you, though. It's more about the play than it was about the receiver, about Eazy-E.
Yeah.
Same thing as Robin says, hey, I like it, but slow down. Because if that's in your overall plan, don't show too much of that.
Yeah. No, exactly. And
go ahead, Rob.
No, I was going to say now I forgot. When you were saying something that made me think of another guy, but I forgot already. Oh, I like Braxton Burrios back there as a punt returner too, and it's just like
he did.
and
good
I think
too.
he's going to be utilized as another receiver more often than we think. I could be totally wrong, but I think we're going to see him as a receiver.
He's a veteran receiver, and I agree with you.
I think his style matches up with Tua because he does those quick. Because Tua is very much like his timing, and he gets off quick, and he likes those quick slants right over the middle and all that. And I just think that fits well to what Tua does. So I think he's going to be.
There were 2 catches. There were 2 catches I noticed that he didn't haul in, but they were like those kind of catches that it's a 50-50 whether you're going to get it or not anyway. You know what I mean? So, but the rest of them running the ball back and everything else, you could see that he's been in the league a while. He knows what he's doing when you watch him on his patterns and everything else. I liked how he got open over the middle for one shot that he took. There was a few plays that he was looked very good. So I wouldn't mind seeing him as a third or whatever wide receiver. But you also have Chosen. And I watched Chosen last night before the game. They were throwing the ball to him, and he was doing some catches, but I guess he's just not ready yet.
Yeah, that's what they said. He wasn't ready to go, McDaniel said in the press conference, because he was dealing with some lingering little injury, and he said that,
it's got to be something small, though, because like I said, I saw him catching the ball last night. I mean, he wasn't fully dressed, nothing like that, but he was running around in his sweats and catching the ball and doing a few things.
So, Bobby,
because you
what do
can't
you
miss
think
that
of?
hairdo.
Sorry to
Man.
cut you off. My old brain will forget if I don't say now. So, what were you thinking of McDaniel's face after like Atlanta took a couple deep shots that he was like, because he had already taken his headsets off and he's like, really? And then he has that smile. I think like Bo Kemper said, he goes, I think he's just making a mental note, like, okay, if we get you in and
I'll get you back on that. I'll get you back. Yeah, I think
Yep.
I agree with you. I saw that. And, again, and I know a lot of people were hammering on him last night, but again, it's like I don't think he showed a lot of what they're planning to do. And again, it's third stringers, second stringers. I'm not going to judge him too bad.
The execution in the red zone that's more than his game plan, because Mike White led 3 drives that got into the red zone. 1, he threw the interception, and 2 ended on 4th and goal. And the 1 4th and goal, the guy was open, but it just got tipped as he was throwing the ball off the line. That would have been an easy touchdown. So some of it's just execution more than the game plan. So I'm not worried about McDaniel. It's very vanilla. I mean, the defense is very vanilla during preseason. They're not going to show all this.
Again, I think game 2 will be more important because I think we'll get more started. I don't know about maybe game 3. I'm not sure. Maybe
now I think it's game 2. It used to be game 3 in the old days when there was 4 preseason games.
That's right.
Now,
I think next week. Now, if the starters play, and I mean they're
and the Texans beat our butt.
Yeah, then we could say, okay, we gotta think about something. Now, again, the way I say it like this, and I do have it here. Some of the points. If it's only game 1, but if they do this against the Chargers, and I'm saying week 1 against the Chargers, they lay a dud. And because to me, to me, I based this on individuality last night, individual performances, which there were a few that I was impressed with. Right. But if they come around and they lay a dud like that, where they don't show that will to win or really that effort, then we're going to have a tough conversation after game 1. And I know we're going to say after week 1, it's only week 1, but you can't perform like that in regular season. So I'm not worried about preseason, but yeah, if they come out in week 1, if they show fight in week 1 and they lose, then that's different. It's a fight.
But if they come out flat, right? Yeah.
But if they come out like you said, if they come out flat like they did last night against the Chargers, then yes, concern should be warranted. But I'm not worried about last night. Let me ask you guys this in regards of like player like Gaskin, Cedric Wilson, because we're talking about A-Chain. But do you think, especially with Gaskin, we'll go with Gaskin, last night's performance, do you think, hey, this guy could earn himself a roster spot? Or do you guys are you with me where it's like, hey, he helped his trade value?
Well, maybe his trade value, but it depends. Like if we don't sign Cook, if he doesn't sign Cook, the Dolphins don't sign Cook, I still think Gaskin has a good chance to make the team. And I don't know. It's going to be maybe between him and Ahmed then, because I can't see Moser or Wilson going anywhere. Those are McDaniel guys. So then you got A-Chain. So you got Wilson, Moser, A-Chain. And then if Cook comes in, it's really down to this, like it's either going to be Ahmed or Gaskin.
I think that if Cook comes here, if it's Cooks, and Kane's Dolphins 89, good to see you, man. Thank you for tuning in. I believe this is your first time on. We appreciate you watching. Fins up to you. Like and subscribe. We appreciate you. But I'll just say this: if it's Cook, I don't think Mozart. I think it's Wilson who could be on the move in that point, because I believe Ahmed and Gaskin are fighting for a spot either way. And
right.
Ahmed has an opportunity, has the inside lane because of his familiarity with McDaniel's offense. He played with the 49ers, where Gaskin is on the outside.
He's a little bit faster.
So. Exactly. But Gaskin showed flashes. Again, second, third stringers, but showed enough for me to say, hey, another team might look at him and go, hey, let's not let this guy become a free agent. Let's just get him on the very cheap. Let's give a 6th or 7th round pick. It's still a 6th and 7th round pick. As we're not rushing through, we're here about Fish Tank Hank in the house on the road. We got Rob Mosley, Dolphins Thirsty.
Yeah.
Any surprises when the depth chart got released, Fish Tank, when you saw the depth? Now it's unofficial. We got a few weeks left, but when the first depth chart came out, did you go, when you looked at it, you go, that's funny.
Let Hank go. He's on the road, so we don't know when he's going to have to take off. So go, Hank.
No, you go ahead, Rob. You go ahead.
No, to me, not at all. Because when you see Jalen Ramsey lit on and you already know he's out, to me, it's like, obviously, it's just a very preliminary, depth chart that they threw out there. So, I mean, there was nothing that jumped out at me. I mean, Mike White was, I guess, listed ahead of Skyler or whatever, maybe little things like that. But I think Mike White is the front runner for QB2, but we'll see. But there's nothing that I looked and I was like, holy moly, I can't believe it. So the answer to your question, nothing shocked me, Bobby.
There you go.
Fish tank? Same here. That's why I was like, go ahead, Rob. I thought maybe Rob had something.
Yeah, no. So
no. If you're taking it serious, yes, you could raise some concerns, but I'm not taking it serious like Rob was just saying. It's so preliminary right now. Everything's up in the air.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. And again, like Cap is saying, depth chart changes like 4 to 5 times before in the regular season. So it's going to be updated. We'll see what happens from there. Again, players come and go, but the initial outlook, it did catch my eye, Mike White over Skyler to start it, because I believe Skyler earned the right to be the backup to start it out. But maybe Mike White is making that type of noise in camp. And then last night, if you were going based off last night, even though I'm not comfortable with either of them, I would go with Mike White right now, based off what I saw last night. Xavier Howard, they released the top 100 list finally. Everything's done. Tyreek Hill was in there. I don't think I have it where he put. I think it was number 6.
He was in the top 10.
You top 7 or 6, I believe.
Yeah, 7 or 6, somewhere in that area.
Hank's car's talking, I believe. I mean, it's like
where was Waddle in the 40s, right?
44. I believe it was 44.
Yeah, that's what
but Xavier Howard was not in there. Let me ask you this. I'll start with Fish Tank. Yes or no? Unless you want to go into details, Fish Tank. Did he get snubbed?
No, he didn't get snubbed because he was injured and he was out and he didn't perform as well as he had previously because of those injuries. You're going with a groin strain. That's difficult to cover somebody. I mean, give me a break. You're running full force, stopping, turning. I mean, that's tough to do. So I can understand why he wasn't on there. In my opinion, Waddle should have been higher, though.
I agree with that. I like that. What about you, Rob? You think Xavier Howard was snubbed?
No, Hank makes some good point. I mean, if he would have been in the 90s maybe or whatever. But I mean, I think he's fine. Hopefully that motivates him, because some of those guys that have been in the top 100 before, then they get booted out. They get a little motivation under them and whatever. So hopefully he does well in the Fangio system. I wish Ramsey was on the other side of him. I was really looking forward to that combo back there. But I think he is fine that he's not in or out. Like I say, lists are all for fun, for talking heads like us to talk about and have fun and debate. But at the end of the day, go out there and play well, and you'll be back in it. So I'm not overly concerned.
And that's the thing, we got to remember too, is that this was based off last year. It's not overall play.
Right.
He's one of the top players in the NFL. But last year, but I think it's still very promising about how many guys actually became or were on the top 100. Tua, Armstead, Waddle, Hill, Wilkins. That's exciting. That's pretty damn cool.
And of course Ramsey, but what good is that?
Jalen Ramsey, yeah, I know, until December. But hey, here's potentials for next year, okay, that are not on this list but could be next season. Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, Xavier Howard, of course, Connor Williams, Javon Holland. Think about that. Miami could,
and then some of the guys that were on the 80s now and for the Dolphins can move up higher on the list.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point, is where it's like, hey, look, don't freak out just yet. It's only game 1. None of our top 100 players were in that game.
We haven't seen anybody play.
We haven't seen anything yet. And now I'll let me ask you guys, out of those names, Holland, Phillips, Williams, Connor Williams, Bradley Chubb, and of course Xavier Howard, we think more than likely we'll leave him out because more than likely he will come up because he's that guy. But those guys, which one is more than likely to be in the top 100 next season? Do you think? Give me one name out of that list.
I saw you moving the camera. I figured you were coming in for the kills. So I wasn't sure. So there you go. I say Jalen Phillips is a guy to me. I think they told me right now, Rob, bet $100 in Vegas on what Dolphin player would be in the top 100, and if you get a payout if you win, I would pick Jalen Phillips. I know Scotty is a regular in all of our shows. He loves to say 15 for 15. He thinks that Jalen Phillips is going to get at least 15 sacks. So I think Jalen Phillips. Holland, I hear, of course, according again, This Omar Kelly, it's his eyes, not my eyes, saying that he's surprised that Holland hasn't been practicing as well as he's seen him practice in the past. But he thinks this is more of like they're asking him to do a whole bunch in this system. So he's like through a very fast learning process. But hopefully by regular season, he got that learning process done. And because he was a guy I first pointed out that I think is going to have an all-pro year with Fangio. So I don't want to look wrong, but that's what Omar Kelly, who's been out there every day, says that he's surprised.
I know some, Omar is it could be for some people
Yeah, but he's been filling in on the Joe Rose show all week.
Well, but you know what? He hasn't been wrong. He talked about a lot of people got on him because he was saying that the Atlanta Falcons D line was overtaking their Dolphins O line, and he was concerned with that, and he said that don't sleep on Gaskin. Well, last night, look what happened with the Dolphins and the Falcons. Of course, again, preseason game 1, and then look what Gaskin did last night. So, hey, you know what? You're right. Our eyes, his eyes, but so far it looks like he 2-2.
Right.
Fish Tank, are you? I agree with you, Rob, and Jalen Phillips being on that top 100 list. What about you, Hank? Any of those players? Holland, Chubb, Agba, Connor Williams, Phillips. Any of those guys? Do you think which one would you pick to make the top? I know you would. I know you'd pick all of them. I know you would.
All of them.
I know you would do that.
I think we have a lot of Pro Bowlers on our team, to be totally honest with you. And I don't know which player is going to get the credit for all the tackles, the sacks, and the receptions and the yards and everything else. Alan Dino, yes, I'm in the car.
Let me talk about Cap this thing.
No, that's his living room. No, just kidding.
His fancy living room. Anyway, Omar has said the team is not ready for a Super Bowl yet. He's hit and miss at times for sure. But on the Joe Rose this week, he says it. Then in the next sentence, Joe Rose says, "Well, you're a big proponent of signing Dalvin Cook." And then Omar Kelly says, if the Dolphins get Dalvin Cook, he thinks they're a Super Bowl team. So that's what he said on the Joe Rose. So that's how I don't see Cook being the difference between a non-Super, but that was Omar Kelly's take on Friday morning.
I think Bobby and I said something close to that.
Okay, so I don't know if he would push us over the top that much because I think we got more offensive line problems and running back problems, but we will see. But that was Omar because, like I said, all week Joe Rose has been on, but he's had a co-host out for 4 days with Omar Kelly. And that's what Omar, I was like surprised to hear him say that. I was like, well, coming from Omar Kelly, that's about the most positive thing I've heard him say from the Dolphins in a long time. Yeah.
Let me make sure I got it all here. Let's see if I'm with you guys. Jalen Phillips is one. And I will say, I thought I saw something. Is everyone freaking out? Cap, yes. No, not everyone, because you're looking at 3 guys that are pretty calm after last night, despite what we saw. But there are a few, like our beloved Evan on Fitstock Sports Network, we can catch on the Fins bandwagon. He was going off last night on our DMs.
But by Thursday, he'd be calm and having us back in the playoffs.
Legacy was going out, But he had some points today that I saw where a nice analysis that I was reading through, which actually, I actually enjoyed. I know Steve is trying to get him tomorrow, on Tuesday night with you, Rob, for Brett to come on, because Brett did have some points, and I get those points. But again, this is my thing right now. He knows this. You know this, Rob. People who tune in know how I think. Yes. I think about last season after this season. If this season Dolphins go 9-8, miss the playoffs, or make the playoffs and get eliminated, then I'll say, man, this season, last season, the season before that, we can't let this happen again. But at the start of the season, I'm not worried about last season anymore. I'm not worried. I'm worried about this season now. I know what our flaws are, but I'm worried about this season. I'll tell you what the flaws are. We'll discuss them. But this team is too talented to fall flat again. Yes, they have flaws. Yes, we're worried about their offensive line overall, but depth. But there's too many good things about this team to say they're going to be a total dud. There's too many good things shown by our quarterback to say he's going to be a dud. You could be worried about injuries. You could be worried about December. But that's up to him to change that narrative. But you can't say he's a dud. He's shown that he's not. There's a lot of things you could look at, but again, those were last season. We're thinking about this season now.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's why after the season, Fish Tank knows this. I mean, if the Dolphins go after this season, we're at week 18 or the wild card, unless God forbid the Dolphins are out, or which I don't think they will be, or that they're one and done, which, you know, then me and Fishtank will be talking, and I'll tell Fishtank, you know what? This is not okay.
Chris Greer needs to go.
Fire Greer, fire McDee. We got it. This team's too damn talented.
Fire everybody. Let's start over.
Then you can talk about the last year or the year before that or the year before that. But now it's a new start. We got new players on this team. Let's see how they do. We got players in an additional year growing. Let's see how they can do. Let's give it time, folks. It's not time to throw in the towel. It's not time to freak out. Don't get on the overreaction wagon with Evan Posner. Okay? Get on the bandwagon with Fish Tank Hank and everyone here.
No, I agree, man. But hey, Stephen Ross himself, when asked, you know, hey, do you have high expectations for a season with all the money you've given and all that? And that's what he said. You're damn right. So, you know, I think the pressure's on these guys. He won't say it publicly, but that's about as close as he's going to get publicly for putting pressure on these guys, because he's like, every time Chris Greer come and say, hey, man, you know, let's get Tyreek Hill, but he's only going to come here if we give him this huge upfront money. Ross is like, okay, hey, Chubb is happy to come here, but he's going to need the money during this trade, or, you know, there's no ring. Okay. And whatever. So he's done everything. You know, let's get Ramsey. Okay, let's rework his contract so it's fit us in this year. Okay, Armstead. Let's do this. Okay, let's rework after giving all that money last year. Let's rework Tyreek's contract again. Give it a little more money for this year's cap. Okay, so I would, if I was the owner, I mean, if I was a laid back owner like Ross, I would be like, you better start winning some damn playoff games, man. You know,
that's why.
He's not getting any younger. He wants to see a damn playoff win. You know?
It's a 2-year window. It's a 2-year window, but really excuse me, I'm sorry, Hank. I'll just say this very quick. With the roster, it's a 2-year window. With the front office, it's a 1 year.
Yeah.
It's 1 year. You better hope the decisions you made this offseason do something this season. Because if not, then the Ross should clean it out and let the new guy decide what happens with it. Because this roster is a 2-year window. You got too much talent on this roster not to make some sort of run. Go ahead, Fish Tank. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I don't actually think that'll affect McDaniel or Vic Fangio, to be totally honest with you. Even if we totally suck, I think they'll still be on the team. Now, will they get rid of Greer? Who knows, you know? But I think McDaniel has at least another year. And obviously Vic Fangio has to have another year. I don't see them tossing them that quick.
No, I think you're right. I think it would, if for Fangio, I think it would be up to him. I think that if he finds like, oh, I could go now to Philadelphia and be their defensive coordinator. This is only if, again, we're up ahead here. Only, God forbid, the world falls and the Dolphins don't do anything next year, which we don't think they will. We all believe they will. But I believe that it's like, okay, hire a guy to run the entire organization. Let him decide what happens with McDaniel. Don't fire McDaniel. Let the guy decide what happens with McDaniel. Fangio, if the Dolphins do fall flat, it'll be up to him if he goes, you know what, I'm going to Philadelphia, I'm going to this team, or I'm going to stay here with McDaniel. But I'm with you. I don't think it's a coaching staff. But I do believe that you got to allow your guy, the head guy, whoever that may be, if that happens, to make that decision. You know, keep this guy, fire this guy, keep this guy. Let the guy who's running it do it. Go ahead, Fish Tank. I'm sorry.
The other part of this is, come on, folks. They were rebuilding 3 years of this. I mean, give it a break. The only year that Miami should have been competitive is last year. Right. They should have been competitive to some point last year. I thought they should have had 10-plus wins last year, and they didn't. So, in my opinion, last year they failed to hit the mark where I thought they would.
100%. Yeah, that 5-game losing streak. Yeah, 100%.
However, though, you know, things happen. People got hurt, and we all know what the whole story. But the bottom line is they didn't get to the 10 wins, which I really wanted them to get to show that they were a complete team. But at the same time, they never played as a complete team either. They never played all 3 phases together last year. Now, I believe this year that you're going to see all 3 phases work together, because you're going to have McDaniel on the offense, you're going to have Vic Fangio on the defense, and I think we're at least going to see a complete game from those 2 sides a lot more often than we did last year. As far as player depth goes, that's our big concern, like always. You sit there and look at the depth on the line and you worry. You look at linebackers and you worry. You look at offensive guard and you worry. You look at right tackle and you worry. Those are our concerns on the team, folks. We all know that. But guess what? We still have 2 preseasons to go. We're still going to work out a few people. You might even bring in, once people start getting cut, Miami always grabs a few people and brings them in.
There can be hope on the horizon for sure, but they have to be more consistent. That's what in 2021 they had a 7-game losing streak at one point. Last year we had a 5-game. You have to avoid those multiple games. 2 losing in a row, but once you get into the 3, you can't have that, or you're going to fall behind. Especially in this division, you're going to fall behind, and the AFC wild card is going to be a battle because. Even the Broncos, the Browns, and that division over there, they're crazy good too. So it's like there's not going to be much because you got the Bengals, you got the Ravens, and all of that kind of stuff. I still haven't heard any updates on Joe Burrow when he's supposed back. But if he's back for the regular season, that team's going to be – so you're not going to be able to be down losing 5 games in a row and 7 games in a row.
No, not this year. You're totally right, Rob. There's no way – that we can sit there and drop 4 or 5 games. There's no way. That's it.
Yeah.
We'll be done. We won't be in this. We won't be in the playoffs. We won't be anywhere.
Yeah.
So Miami better come out the gate winning.
Yeah. No, I know this is bad too. I know. We just, 4 coaches in 5 years not good for the. It's bad, man. It's just like it's.
So that's tough, a recipe for bad teams, and you could have all the talent in the world. But if when it starts with the front office, really, because you got to have a good structure. You got to have a good organizational structure that translates well into the football team. I mean, you look at the Eagles, you look at the Chiefs, you look at those those talented football teams, but it all starts from the top. Who's the guy that runs Kansas City? It is their coach. It's Andy Reid, and then he picked his general manager. And now look how it's the right for them. They know what players they're going to get. They got Patrick Mahomes. They thought people were saying they should get somebody else. Now look where they are. The same thing. If we'll close it at that because again, not worried till week 4. And I agree. I'm with Rob 1,000%. 7 games the year before that, 5 games last year. Can't have that this year. Cannot have that.
No.
But after last night, I'm not worried. I agree with most everybody here. Everybody in the comments.
There's another one in the front.
But if the Dolphins do end up doing that, if it comes down to that, which again I think Ross would, if they fall flat, I think career is kind of like, then you hire your head guy, if that's the general manager or vice president of team operations, let him hire everybody else. If he says, McDaniel, we're going to keep McDaniel, they work together. If not, he goes, you know what? Thank you, no, thank you. I'm okay with him getting his guy, but we'll get to that part when we do. Till then, I think we all agree. That the Dolphins
we're looking forward to this season. Yes,
this season it's going to be exciting. Again, Eazy-E, Gaskin, A-Chain, especially Cam Smith, Aubrey Miller, Chris Brooks, undrafted free agent running back. I came away very impressed with a lot of guys last night on the Dolphins roster. Things I'm concerned with, but nothing that makes me go, it's the end of the world.
No, exactly.
You know what I mean? Any final thoughts, guys? Hank, before I know you got to head out, but any final thoughts before we close today's show?
I know that behind it all, Stephen Ross wants a win. We all know that. He's put out the money, like Rob has said, like you've said. It's not a big surprise. What I really want is I want us to start out right with the Chargers, and if we start out right on that game. Yeah. I think that's going to carry the first 4 games. So
I would hope you're right.
We meet Buffalo, and we'll meet Buffalo on that 4th game, and I think we'll be fine.
No, yeah. Hey, I hope you're right, man, because it's been way too long. No playoff wins since 2000, the year 2000. December 30th, 2000 was the last time the Dolphins won a playoff game. So it's way, way, way too long. This is to me, I'm calling this. I wish I had a good rhyme for it, but this is the no excuse year. If Tua goes hurt, that's just part of football. Because last year, Tua got hurt and that's just part of the team, man. There's no excuse because that's part of the equation if he gets hurt again, if he So, to me, this is like no excuse. Win now, win a darn playoff game, or if we fail the playoffs, I think we could see the wholesale change. If we sneak in again, I think it would buy them another year. But if the disaster happens, which I don't think Dolphin fans not overreacting, I think we're still a playoff team, and we're going to cause some noise this year in the playoffs. We got that experience, so I'm ready for a really good season. That's my wrap.
I actually
fins up season.
There you go.
I actually believe that regardless of how this season turns out, unless we just completely fall flat on our butts, I think Greer will still be here for another year.
I don't know. Well, then he got photos of Ross or something.
Yeah, there's something he has on Ross if that's the case. I hope not.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen, though, Hank. I don't think it's going to happen. Let me make sure that's my final
answer. I think the Dolphins are going to do well this year. I'm not going to, if they fall flat like they've done the past 2 years, and then no, I hope that's not the case. I hope. But I history says otherwise, so I understand what fish tank's coming from.
My room's shrinking.
But, yeah, I see that. But hey, let me just thank everybody for tuning in. While you were watching Fitz Talk today on the Fitz Talk Sports Network. You could catch Rob Mosley on Tuesday nights on the Fitz Talk Sports Network on Real Talk Fitz Talk, or catch him on Dolphins Thirsty YouTube channel for Dolphins Chatter in the mornings at 10 a.m. Catch Fish Tank Hank here on Fitz Talk today every Saturday, or on Thursday nights on the Fins Bandwagon with Evan Posner. Catch me on Monday night on East 10th Street Boys, or any other time. I'm usually roaming around somewhere on the channel. But guys, thank you all for tuning in. And most importantly, like, subscribe, and fins up. We'll see you guys next time. Fins up, everyone.
Steve, Dolphins number 1. Steve, Dolphins number 1.